Namaskar, everyone. Welcome to our talk and little chanting bhajans. And welcome those at home and here. Let us start with a chant. Om Sato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Nitya Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to mortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. Well, again, welcome to everyone. I had planned today to be a special day honoring Divine Mother, the mystery of Divine Mother. Maybe we'll make this a two-part talk because I have so much that we found for beautiful different aspects of Divine Mother and things that we can talk about and read about that could shed some light on Divine Mother. But I thought we would start maybe with a chant just quickly so that we can sing to Divine Mother from our hearts first before we talk about her with our heads. So we'll chant, Will That Day Come to Me, Ma? And this one is by Ram Prasad. It's a very beautiful chant. And we'll just do a quick chant just to kind of get into the devotional spirit of things. When saying, Mother dear, my eyes will flow tears. Wisdom's lotus will blossom for darkness will steal away. Wisdom's lotus will blossom for darkness will steal away. Steal away, steal away, steal away, Ma, steal away. Steal away, steal away, steal away, Ma, steal away. The thoughts of veils to declare, Divine Mothers everywhere. The thoughts of veils to declare, my mothers everywhere. Sri Ram Prasad said, Divine Mother everywhere stays. Sri Ram Prasad said, Divine Mother everywhere stays. Blind eyes see them all, I hear everywhere. Blind eyes see them all, I hear everywhere. Will that day will come to me, Lord? Will that day will come to me, Lord? When saying, Mother dear, my eyes will flow tears. When saying, Mother dear, my eyes will flow tears. Heart's joys will blossom for darkness will steal away. Heart's joys will blossom for darkness will steal away. Steal away, steal away, steal away, Ma, steal away. Steal away, steal away, steal away, Ma, steal away. Sri Ram Prasad said, Divine Mother everywhere stays. Sri Ram Prasad said, My Mother everywhere stays. Blind eyes see them all, I hear everywhere. So we thought that we would read a little bit of kind of biography and stories of different manifestations of Divine Mother. Um, and before that, maybe we could just talk a little bit about the idea of Divine Mother as an archetype and as a reality, and how it kind of has led to this whole worship of Shakti and understanding of what Divine Mother is, because there's many layers of Divine Mother, I think, and it would take so long to go through them. But I think we, in the West, obviously we're not always understanding that God can be seen as the mother. And we have Mother Mary, of course, but we don't see her as God itself. We see her as the mother of God. And in the East, of course, there's a long legacy of the mother, or Shakti, or a female aspect. Excuse me. A female aspect of the Divine Mother, of Shakti. So it's a lot more kind of natural for the East to be able to see God as mother. But if you really think about it, what is the first conception that a human or even an animal has of some all-powerful being that protects us and feeds us and nourishes us and teaches us? It's the mother. Even in the animal kingdom, in many cases, the father, or the male, doesn't stay around, and the mother is there protecting the young in the nest and so on, or in the sea and all this kind of thing. Now, of course, in the human beings, even the early man with the hunter-gatherers, the men may be out hunting and all these things, and the mother would be there with the children, protecting them and nourishing them. The first nourishment is the mother. Even in the womb, everything is mother. We're covered, surrounded by mother. She protects us. She feeds us directly from her own being. Everything we have, our growth, is through Divine Mother, our mother. This female essence of divinity. And so it's really natural for us, when we get into a spiritual path, when we start to think about God as the mother, it's a very natural thing. It fits right within eons and eons and billions of years perhaps, of evolution in our DNA. Even, like I said, basic animals have this mothering instinct and aspects. So when we think of God as mother, it can become a very, very deep and easy connection to think of God that way. Thinking of God as father is sometimes a little intimidating, because God as the father, if we think about our father, sometimes the father was loving, and sometimes he was judgmental, and sometimes he was the one who was the disciplinarian. And so we always had to please the father and, kind of make sure that we were okay with the father. But the mother, if we were really in trouble, and in most cases, of course, but if we were really in trouble, we would run to mother. And that's kind of carried over into this ideal of spirituality, because obviously we're trying to connect with something very deep within ourselves in spirituality, no matter which religion, something very deep and primal that connects with us and feeds us and comforts us and gives us hope and gives us faith and gives us courage and gives us the ability to go on. In very, very ancient times, the mother is a very easy concept of this energy that can give us what we need when we're in trouble. And we don't have to always earn it from the mother. We're not always perfect, and she still will love us. We're not always doing the right things, and she will still forgive us. So this ideal of the mother is a very basic conception, is a wonderful way to go into the heart, go into something deep within us, go into our DNA, and connect with something that we feel is real. And we have a memory in our own being as being real and comforting. So this is why I think in Indian religion, it's the most defined of what mother is and how to connect. Just on that devotional way, just as seeing this beautiful essence as my mother who takes care of me, when we're needed, when it's needed, and I can run to Mother as a image, any image that we want to think about as the Mother, to go to her and to have that response and feel that response is a very natural thing. And I think that's one of the things that makes the Eastern religion so nice and appealing to many people, is because, the Western religions focus a lot on judgment and hell, and you have to repent and all these things, and that's wonderful. But what about those who are really lost and really needing help? And those, in the East, Mother is sacred. You can always run to Mother. You can always run to Mother. So it's very beautiful, just on a basic way. So that is the first layer of Mother worship, is just finding an aspect of Divine Mother that you can approach and you feel that connection with. So we have in Indian religions, we have not only we have the archetypes of Mother, we have the cosmic aspects of Mother. Mother Kali, for example, who it's a very, very deep symbology in the aspect of Mother. First, she is the Mother. Sri Ramakrishna had that such beautiful relationship with. He would go to Mother and ask her if he should learn from this teacher, or what he should do, and he would always go to the Mother and get direction and connection from Mother, and make sure that he was doing exactly what Mother wanted him to do, and whenever he needed something, he would always cry for Mother and teach us how to cry for Mother, because obviously he was already connected to Mother. So maybe it was more of a show for us, but it's a beautiful, beautiful example of how to really be connected to Mother. Mother Kali is all of creation. So if you can see with Mother Kali, of course, in the video, you can't see it easily, but she has this terrible aspect and this beautiful aspect as well to her. And she's got a sword with a severed head and blood on the sword, and she's also got her hand raised in blessings and a laying finger. She's got a garland of skulls and a belt of thumbs, fingers. It's quite terrifying. But there's also something about Mother there too that is allaying fears and giving blessings. So this dual aspect of Divine Mother is exactly what we find in creation. So when we talk about Divine Mother in the Indian sense, she is the creatrix. And in a lot of other mythology, because the Mother always gives birth, right? She creates. That's the ideal of the Mother. And so she is the creatrix. She is the active aspect of all things. And that means everything that has movement, everything that has a sound, vibration, then thought later on, this is all Mother. Everything's Mother. We're Mother. If you think about it, we're not we are part of creation, as we see ourselves separate, and our thinking and our thoughts and our feelings and all these things are Mother. And so this is a very, very profound way of looking at this Kali, this beautiful Kali image. There's so many layers of meaning there. So she is everything. She is us. We are part of Mother. She creates herself. She all manifestation, all separate manifestation is Mother. Even the incarnations are an aspect of Mother. Even the incarnations are Shakti, part of Mother. And so this is beautiful to understand. So this light and dark is how the universe, how objective reality is created. You can't have just light. Otherwise there's nothing, there's no contrast. There's no duality. So you can't have any interaction at all, no separateness. In order to create the illusion of separateness, they say there's one giant unity, one giant awareness, Shiva or Brahman, however you want to. But there's no way to divide that but by tremendous illusion of the Divine Mother of Shakti. It creates the image of multiplicity when there is no multiplicity possible. So this is Mother Kali. It's so beautiful. And so she also holds the key to liberation. So Mother Kali with the sword cutting off the head is also symbolizing the destruction of the ego, separateness, merging again back into that wholeness. So she's also the doorway to infinity. She holds the keys, as Sri Ramakrishna and all the great masters said. You have to go through the mother to get to Brahma, to get to Shiva, to go to infinity, to go to the non-manifest, because she is all, we are that. And to go through her, to do it through willpower is kind of an illusion, they say. So Divine Mother is very, very, very deep. And to follow Ma Kali, it can be as simple as Ma, help me, Ma, save me, like Srimad Krishna saw Ma as his mother. And then, of course, as you go deeper, as she reveals her layers, we go deeper and reveal our layers because we are Ma. And so this is a beautiful thing about Ma Kali. But while we're in duality, since we think this is real, and of course we have no other possibility because there's no other vision we've had, right? We only have seen reality of being this person and everything else, everybody else is those people. Then we need things. We need things in this world. There's times when we have desperate needs. And so we have different aspects of the Divine Mother that the Indian religion has given us that allow us to visualize that aspect of the Divine Mother in the way that can help us. And so for protection, which is very basic, protection and to be, kept, from harm and getting through dangerous times or traveling or through the unknown and all that, we have Ma Durga. Ma Durga is the protectrix. She has the lion. She's the fierce, so she can defeat any demon. She's amazingly strong and powerful, and she's our mother, and she can protect us in the times of uncertainty. And so Ma Durga can be that special image that we can go to when we're really, really in trouble, and or when we're taking a trip and you want to have protection, or for your children, or this is a way to call on that aspect of God and visualize it in a way that's concrete for us, because we're only used to form. We're not used to the unformed, indivisible consciousnesses that are part of this creation. We're only used to the form. So this is some way we can relate to this and go deeper into that protection that is the depth of our own soul. As we go deep into each of these aspects, we end up going deeper into ourselves till we find our core. Because the true protection isn't something from outside. It is something already inherent in our own being. That is, there's nothing that needs protection eventually when we get deep enough. We are that image of divinity. We are that image of awareness that is not touched by anything. It's not dried by the wind. It's not burnt by fire. It's not harmed by anything. It can't be. But we don't know that. This is not our reality. So being able to go into Ma Durga and get deeper and deeper into that is such a blessing. And I think that's what Srimad Krishna said. We get into all paths lead to the same result eventually. And then Ma Lakshmi, there's things we need in this world that we need to survive. We need to be sustained. We need to have food. We need to have shelter. We need to have things that we can use to survive in this world, to navigate in this world that's money, to create shelter and food and take care of your family, or even just not be homeless and so on. Okay, this is Ma Lakshmi. So whenever we're needing sustenance to be able to sustain ourselves and our families and our loved ones and those around us, we can use Ma Lakshmi to say, Ma, I surrender to you. Keep me as thou wilt. Sustain me as thou wilt. Thou art everything. And again, as we go deep within, we realize that all the source of this creational abundance is something deep within us. And so we go through Ma Lakshmi into the depths of our own souls, into the depths of our own beings, and realize that all of these things, all of this world is created by the mere thought of the divine will that is within each person, in each soul. And so the source of abundance is eventually seen to be at the depths of our own being. And everything that is, of course, necessary. We're not needing anything. There's nothing necessary for the soul to sustain itself. There's nothing necessary for the soul to do anything it needs to do. It is absolutely free and unencumbered and all powerful in that sense, because there's no external reality that has any effect on it. So it's the sense of I need nothing is the ultimate liberation from want, from Ma Lakshmi showing us that, there's nothing we need. That sense of all self-sufficiency, all sufficiency, no desirelessness, that is Brahman, that is explained to us as Brahman, is the ultimate fulfillment of Ma Lakshmi. And so this is such a beautiful image and has, again, such a profound layer that is there for us to learn from. And then, of course, if you have a creation and you create a separate being, you create a separate entities, evolution, however it is. So what is the purpose of that? Why would you do such a thing? Okay, and make all this pain and all this evolution of consciousness and evolution of things. Well, Ma Saraswati is all expression, divine expression. To be able to express all the profound thoughts, all the profound utterances, music, poetry, all the divine arts are possible because of this crazy world. Because as a juxtaposition against all evil, the most profound, beautiful things can shine as beautiful gold, as amazing diamonds, as amazing gems in this world. Pure love can show against the opposite, which is utter selfishness and greed and self-centeredness. So this is what shows, this is the reason for this creation. So Ma Saraswati is the essence of expression, of divine expression in all arts. And so she goes from that to that divine's the ability of the interior soul, interior being, expressing all the wisdom and all the divine arts there, that is the reason for the universe, to show love, to show unconditional love, profound. It shines like a diamond in this creation, is Ma Saraswati, the reason, it seems, for having any creation in the beginning, because it's the profound expression of divinity that isn't possible when there's only one. There has to be many to express this beautiful potentiality that is at the base of all of creation, all of awareness, all of divine potentialities. So this is the beauty of Divine Mother. There's so much there. And depending on our own level of reasoning and understanding, we can relate to different aspects of Ma. Whether she's the one we need something and we can relate to certain aspects of her. Or when we're trying to go start turning the camera backwards and start seeing where you're creating these dreams and all these things, but now you have times to turn in that camera back within yourself to see where the true source of all of these things are, where the true reality is, where the true surety is, where the true liberation is, the reality of ourselves. Then Ma turns that camera inside to us, and we start to see the truth. And then all these things don't matter so much at all anymore. And then, of course, Sri Ramakrishna says, then, that's jnana, and seeing this, that this world is not necessary to create for fulfill any need of ours. But then he said there's one thing beyond that, because if you think about it, if this world is not real and only we are real, there's still duality. That still is a dream out here that is supposedly not real. And then there is something that is an awareness inside of us that is the ultimate reality. That's still a duality. And there cannot be a duality in this universe according to the law of infinity. So what is the answer to that? Vijnana, which is something that Sri Ramakrishna kind of, has brought more or less to the awareness recently that maybe hasn't ever been understood in this way. Is that once you've seen everything as non-real, then you go back and you look at this projection and you see that true is all Brahman. Even the unreality, that too is a reality, a real projection of Brahman, because there can't be anything separate from Brahman. So Vijnana, as Sri Ramakrishna describes, is the ultimate realization of where there's all unity, where everything is one again. And instead of seeing this world as a horror show of misery, it's a mansion of mirth, he said. I eat and drink and am merry. This is his way of explaining it. That then is the ultimate liberation, because then there's nowhere to have misery. There's no up and down. There's no falling back into anything, because this too is Brahman. So this is something that Swami Medhanandaji's book on Vijnana, and of course all of the gospel and all the writings on Srimad Krishna talk about Vijnana. It's a beautiful, beautiful concept. So I thought now I would just read a few things about that I found on Holy Mother, that is in different aspects. And I thought, of course, I would start with our Holy Mother, Sharda Devi, because she is the manifestation of Makali, as Srimad Krishna has said, and of course so is Srimad Krishna. But this is a beautiful book. This is Swami Chidanandaji's book of Sri Sharda Devi. And so this is what he has to say for talking about the birth of Sharda Devi and her advent into the world. And he writes, the birth of an avatar or a saint is often associated with supernatural phenomena. For example, as Ramakrishna's mother, Chandramani, once stood in front of the Yoga Shiva temple in Karmapukar, she was surrounded by light and later felt that she had conceived a child. At the same time, Ramakrishna's father, Shudaram, was in Gaya. Lord Vishnu appeared before him. If I'm butchering these names, forgive me. Surrounded by light and later felt that she could. At the same time, he was in Gaya. Lord Vishnu appeared before him and said he wanted to be born as his son. Other examples are there in the history of divinity. A mystical event was also associated with Sharda Devi's birth. One day, as Shaimas Sundari was on her way to visit her family in Sihar, she felt an urge to answer the call of nature. As she squatted in the bushes under a betel tree on the east side of the Ilapan, which was close to the potter's kiln, she heard a jingling sound of the kiln and saw a little girl of 6 climbing down from the betel tree. The little girl put her tender arms around Shaimasundari's neck and she fell down unconscious. She had no idea how long she remained in that condition. Later, her relatives found her under that tree and took her home. From then on, she felt that she was pregnant. Later, Holy Mother recounted this incident. My birth was like the Master's. My mother went to Sihar to see the deity. On her way home, she suddenly felt an urge to answer the call of nature, and she went into the bushes under a nearby tree. It was a false urge. She felt as if the air entered her womb, making her feel very heavy. She remained in that condition. Then my mother saw a beautiful girl of 5 or 6 years, clad in a red sari, descending from the tree. She put her tender arms around my mother's neck and said, "Here, I come to your home, mother." My mother fell down unconscious and had to be carried home. That girl entered my mother's womb, and thus I was born. At that time, Sarda's father, Ramchandra, was in Calcutta, but before he left Yarambrati, he had an extraordinary experience. One day, when he was napping after his noon meal, he had a vivid dream in which an exquisitely beautiful young girl appeared. She had a golden complexion and was wearing precious jewelry. As she tenderly embraced his neck, he asked who she was. She replied in a musical voice, "You see, I have come to your family." Ramchandra was convinced that this was an auspicious moment, and his interpretation of the dream was that Mother Lakshmi had revealed herself to him so that he could make money performing rituals in Calcutta. When he returned from Calcutta, Shyama Sundari told him about her vision. The simple couple had no doubt about the authenticity of their visions. They were certain that a divine child would be born to them. Ramchandra kept away from his wife until the child was born. It's such a beautiful way of understanding that Divine Mother, of course, can take form in human beings as well as a pure, perfect soul, as a pure, perfect emanation of that Shakti. So that's why Sharda Devi, said the most profound things, even though her only education truly was what Sri Ramakrishna gave to her when they were together when she was a young girl and growing up. But of course, Sri Ramakrishna left his body fairly early in her life, and her whole life, she had this amazing wisdom, beautiful expressions of the highest, most profound wisdom that was captured by all of her devotees and the devotees of Sri Krishna. And so pure divinity expressed in a human being as Divine Mother is also there, because we can see then more clearly what the Divine Mother truly is in the form of these divine beings. I had one more thing I was going to give you from Sarda Devi. So let's see, there's so many things we found here. So start. Okay, so this is says Sharda too was conscious of her own divinity and divine mission. As she said in her later years, this body is divine, is a divine body. Do not make any distinction between Srimad Krishna and me. Srimad Krishna has left me behind to manifest the motherhood of God to the world. As we study this extraordinary life of the Holy Mother, we are astonished to find how, with the passing of time, her divine glory and power, which had been first kept hidden, are becoming more and more manifest and appreciated. During her early days, even some of the direct disciples of Srimad Krishna could not realize her greatness. It was comprehended by Swami Vivekananda alone. Before undertaking his wanderings in northern India, he prayed to Holy Mother that he might not return before attaining the highest realization. She blessed him profusely, but asked him whether he would not like to take leave of his mother. He would not like to take leave. To this, Swami replied, "Mother, you are my only mother and none else." So she meant his physical mother. And so he could point out to his brother disciples, saying, "You have not yet understood this wonderful significance of mother's life. None of you. But gradually you will know. Without Shakti power, there is no regeneration for the world. Mother has been born to revive the wonderful Shakti in India, and making her the nucleus, once more will Gargas and Matriyas be born into the world." As we find later on, the Swami's words proved literally true, and his brother disciples recognized the Holy Mother's unique greatness and composed hymns of adoration to her. In his Ramakrishna Sangha Stotra, Swami Sardananda salutes her, saying, "To her who resides as Shakti, or the cosmic power in Sri Ramakrishna, even as the burning power dwells in fire, to that Sarda, the embodiment of all knowledge, do I bow down." So this is a little hint of our Sardama. Of course, there's so many. This is from Sri Sarda Devi, the Great Wonder. So there's so many books that you can kind of dive into to be able to start seeing the aspect of our Holy Mother, Sarda Devi. So many great utterances from this being through the years. But her maybe greatest miracle was that she had a very difficult domestic life. She had quarrelsome relatives. Does that sound familiar? She had problems with her knees. Of course, she never had children because it was a divine marriage to Sri Krishna. But she had all children of all these thousands of children, if you think about it. But her physical family was a very interesting one. And she had constant problems, constant struggles. And she was there from early morning. She would get up at 3 a.m. to perform japa, and then she would cook for Sri Krishna while he was in the body. And then even after, when he left his body, and she ended up in Jairabrati or some other areas, she would be working constantly, cooking for everybody, all of her children that would come to visit her. And at the same time, giving initiation to countless people. And those initiations would cause their karma to be manifest in her body. And so she had constant pain and suffering through most of her life, and her rheumatism and horrible pain. And so some of the disciples would try to, massage her legs with oils and different things to try to give her any relief. Some people who were very, very carnal and had a lot of bad karma would touch her feet, and she would feel burning, and she would have to wash her feet with Ganga water, just to give herself a little relief. And she went through this horrible, horrible lifetime of total offering of blessings to her children. Perhaps the most amazing miracle. I don't think anybody could probably physically do something like that unless you were divine. And we see that in some of the great Ma's, like Amaji these days, where she goes for 12 hours giving hugs to a whole stadium of people. I've seen just hours upon hours of her. And she doesn't take a break somehow. She just gives hugs. It's not possible for an ordinary human being to do such a thing. And then one more, I'll just end with this before we go into something slightly different. This is Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. And we have Anandamoy Ma, who was truly, again, one of those truly amazing, pure beings. She didn't even have a recorded guru. Her awakening, she describes her own state of consciousness in this, I'm going to read. But she herself didn't really have a guru, or she was always awakened, even when she was a young woman. An amazing manifestation of Divine Mother and purity. And so this is what Yoganandaji writes about her in the Autobiography of a Yogi. I thought it was really sweet. I wanted to share that too. It says here, "Sir, please do not leave India without the glimpse of Nirmala Devi. Her sanctity is intense. She's known far and wide as Anandamoy Ma, joy-permeated mother. My niece Amaya always said to me earnestly, 'Of course, I want to very much see the woman saint,' I added. I have read of her advanced state of God realization. A little article about her appeared years ago in East West. I have met her, Amios went on. She recently visited my own small town. At the entreaty of a disciple, Anandamoy Ma went to the home of a dying man, stood by his bedside. As her hand touched his forehead, his death rattle ceased. The disease vanished at once. To the man's glad astonishment, he was well. A few days later, I heard that the blissful mother was staying at the home of a disciple in Bhawanpur section of Calcutta. Again, I hope I said this correctly. Mr. Wright and I set out immediately from my father's Calcutta home. As the ford neared the house, my companion and I observed an unusual street scene. Anandamoy Ma was standing in an open-top automobile, blessing a throng of about 100 disciples. She was evidently on the point of departure. Mr. Wright parked the Ford some distance away and accompanied me on foot toward the quiet assemblage. The woman saint glanced in our direction. She lit from her car and walked towards us. "Father, you have come." With these fervent words in Bengali, she put her arm around my neck and her head on my shoulder. Mr. Wright, to whom I had just remarked that I did not know the saint, was hugely enjoying this extraordinary demonstration of welcome. The eyes of the 100 chelas were also fixed on with some surprise on the affectionate tableau. I had instantly seen that the saint was in a high state of samadhi, oblivious to her outward garb as a woman. She knew herself as the changeless soul. From that plane, she was joyously greeting another devotee of God, and she led me by the hand into her automobile. "Anandamoy Ma, I am delaying your journey," I protested. "Father, I am meeting you for the first time in this life after ages," she said. "Please do not leave yet." We sat together in the rear car seat. The blissful mother soon entered the immobile, ecstatic trance state. Her beautiful eyes glanced heavenward and, half opened, became still, gazing into the near, far inner Elysium. The disciples chanted gently, "Victory to Divine Mother." I had found many men of God realization in India, but never before had I seen such an exalted woman saint. Her gentle face was burnished with the ineffable joy that had given her the name of Blissful Mother. Long black tresses lay loosely behind her unveiled head. A red dot of sandalwood paste on her forehead symbolized the spiritual eye, ever open within her. Tiny face, tiny hands, tiny feet, a contrast to her spiritual magnitude. I put some questions to a nearby woman chela while Anandamoy Ma remained entranced. The blissful mother travels widely in India. In many parts, she has hundreds of disciples, the chela told me. Her courageous efforts have brought about many desirable social reforms. Although a Brahmin, the saint recognizes no caste distinctions. A group of us always travels with her, looking after her comforts. We have to mother her. She takes no notice of her body. If no one gave her food, she would not eat nor make any inquiries. Even when meals are placed before her, she does not touch them. To prevent her disappearance from this world, we disciples feed her with our own hands. For days together, she often stays in the divine trance, scarcely breathing, her eyes unwinking. One of her chief disciples is her husband Bolanath. Many years ago, soon after their marriage, he took a vow of silence. The chela pointed to a broad-shouldered, fine-featured man with long hair and hoary beard. He was standing quietly in the midst of the gathering, his hands folded in a disciple's reverential attitude. Refreshed in her dip in the infinite, Anandamoy Ma was now focusing her consciousness on the material world. Father, please tell me where you stay. Her voice was clear and melodious. At present in Calcutta or Ranchi, but I soon shall be returning to America. America? Yes, an Indian woman saint would be sincerely appreciated by spiritual seekers. Would you like to go? If Father can take me, I will go. This reply caused her nearby disciples to start an alarm. 20 or more of us always travel with the blissful mother. One of them told me firmly, we could not live without her. Wherever she goes, we must go. Reluctantly, I abandoned the plan as possessing an impractical feature of spontaneous enlargement. Please come at least to Ranchi with your devotees, I said on taking leave of the saint. As a divine child yourself, you will enjoy the little ones of my school. Whenever Father takes me, I will gladly go. A short time later, the Ranchi Vidyalaya was in gala array for the saint's promised visit. The youngsters looked forward to any day of festivity, no lessons, hours of music, and a feast for the climax. Victory, Anandamoy Ma Ki Jai, was reiterated chant from scores of enthusiastic little throats, greeting the saint's party as she entered the school gates. Showers of marigolds, tinkle of cymbals, lusty bowling of conch shells, and beat of the marimba drum. The blissful mother wandered smilingly over the sunny Vidyalaya grounds, ever carrying within her heart the portable paradise. It is beautiful here, Anandamoy Ma said graciously, as I led her into the main building. She seated herself with a childlike smile by my side. The closest of dear friends she made one feel, yet an aura of remoteness was ever around her, the paradoxical isolation of omnipresence. Please tell me something of your life. Father knows all about it. Why repeat it? She evidently felt that the factual history of one short incarnation was beneath notice. I laughed and gently repeated my request. Father, there is little to tell. She spread her graceful hands in a depreciatory gesture. My consciousness has never associated itself with this temporary body. Before I came on this earth, Father, I was the same. As a little girl, I was the same. I grew into womanhood, still, I was the same. When this family in which I had been born made arrangements to have this body married, I was the same. And Father, in front of you now, I am the same. Ever afterward, though the dance of creation change around me in the hall of eternity, I shall be the same. It's so beautiful. Again, a very, very pure, very, very pure example of Divine Mother in human form. We're so blessed to have made some of those on the earth. So again, we can see the Mother as this beautiful resort to everything we need, what the divinity we can always run to. But as I said too, with Mother Kali, it is also at that right time, when time is due, she's the key to turning our attention within and seeing within our own being all of those things that we've been seeking for, and also finding all of those things that can be expressed in divine forms like Ma Saraswati. So I thought this was beautiful too. This is a book on Kali that I've had for years, about the Black Goddess of Dakshinaswara. You can get this at any of the bookstores. Because Mother Kali also has a different aspect depending on our spiritual journey. So for the Raja Yoga, for those who have meditative, and Swamiji talks about Raja Yoga, in meditation, in deep meditation, Divine Mother is also known as the Kundalini inside of the Shishara, coiled at the base of the spine. They say she's asleep, and most of us. But she can be awakened and rise up the spine and open up the different centers of consciousness to the highest center of consciousness in Shishara, I'm sorry, so that the full awareness of our own being becomes manifest in us. So each level is a higher, more full awareness. So so this talks about Ma Kali, Divine Mother, as the Kundalini. So this is she said, Sri Ramakrishna vividly talked about this experience, which is the idea of the Kundalini. So a lotus in full bloom symbolizes spiritual realization. Hindus say that the 6 lotuses within the spiritual seeker bloom when the Kundalini, the spiritual current, is aroused and moves upward through the Sushumna nerve in the middle of the spinal cord. Sri Ramakrishna vividly talked about his experience regarding the 6 centers of the Kundalini. Sometimes the spiritual current rises through the spine, crawling like an ant. Sometimes in Samadhi, the soul swims joyfully in the ocean of divine ecstasy like a fish. Sometimes when I lie down on my side, I feel the spiritual current pushing me like a monkey and playing with me joyfully. I remain still. That current, like a monkey, suddenly with one jump, reaches the Tishara, and that is why you see me jump up like a start. Sometimes again, the spiritual current rises like a bird, hopping from one branch to another. The place where it rests feels like fire. It may hop from Vadala to the different centers that he talks about, to the heart, and thus gradually to the head. Sometimes the spiritual current moves up like a snake, going in a zigzag way. At last it reaches the head, and I go into Samadhi. A man's spiritual consciousness is not awakened unless the Kundalini is aroused. Just before my attaining this state of mind, it had been revealed to me how the Kundalini is aroused, how the lotuses of the different centers blossom forth, and how all this culminates in Samadhi. This is a very secret experience. I saw a boy 22 or 23 years old, exactly resembling me, enter the Sushumna nerve and commune with the lotuses, touching them with his tongue. He began with the center at the anus and passed through the centers at the sexual organ, navel, and so on. The different lotuses of those centers, 4-petaled, 6-petaled, 10-petaled, and so forth, had been drooping. At his very touch, they stood erect. When he reached the heart, I distinctly remember it, and communed with the lotus there, touching it with his tongue. The 12-petaled lotus, which was hanging head down, stood erect and opened its petals. Then he came to the 16-petal lotus in the head, and the 2-petal lotus in the forehead, and last of all, the 1,000-petal lotus in the head blossomed. Since then, I have been in this state. So, again, there's so many different aspects to mother worship, Divine Mother, mystery of the Divine Mother. For the yogi, for those performing Raja Yoga, being able to perform that kind of a deep spiritual sadhana, has an internal meaning, even from what we have talked about here. And finally, the last thing I thought I'd share is something really beautiful. So we talked about the idea that Divine Mother is a Shakti, and of course we have the idea of Shiva, or Brahman, being that infinite awareness that has no activity, has no creativity, it just is aware, it is just being. And that Shakti is that essence that creates and manifests outwardly. And the fact that once you go beyond the forms, including ourselves, to the infinite awareness, Sri Ramakrishna called it the roof, and say that the roof is where you are in Brahma-Jnana, where you have pure wisdom, true liberation of wisdom, to understand that beyond form, you are not form, you are not held by anything, you are free from all of these things. But he said there was a state beyond that, like we were talking about with Vijnana. And there's a beautiful story, and it's in the Ramakrishna and his disciples, but there's other places where it is, where it talks about Totapuri and how Totapuri came to Dakshineswar And because of that, Sri Krishna attained Nirvikalpa Samadhi in 3 days. So there was a big, amazing reason for Todapuri to come to have Sri Krishna manifest that Nirvikalpa state of ultimate Samadhi. But Todapuri was an all-renouncing monk, and usually he only stayed 3 days in one place. Even after the awakening of Sri Krishna to Nirvikalpa Samadhi, he stayed 11 months more in Dakshineswar because he had a very great attachment to, they say, to Sri Krishna, and he couldn't bring himself to leave. So this is what's kind of happened. It's a beautiful story, and it hints at the final thing that we're going to leave with. And then we'll just maybe do another chant and finish. But this is a beautiful story giving us the deepest understanding of the Divine Mother. On another occasion, Ramakrishna and Todapuri were sitting before the Duni fire, engaged in a philosophical conversation. Toda had been expounding the non-dualistic viewpoint that Brahman was one reality, and that to a knower of Brahman, the world of appearance, Maya, was a trivial thing. Maya could have no power over him, he said. Ramakrishna disagreed. He knew only too well how powerful Maya could be. As they were talking, a temple servant came by. The servant wanted to light his pipe, and seeing the fire, his sacred Duni fire, he came over and was about to take a piece of hot charcoal. Toda flew into a rage. To him, the servant's act was not only impotent, but sacrilegious, and Toda threatened to hit him with his tongs. The servant ran away, and Ramakrishna laughed until he rolled on the ground, crying, "Oh, for shame, you forgot already." "What are you laughing about?" Toda asked indignantly. The man was so insolent. Still laughing, Ramakrishna answered, "Oh yes, he was insolent, but you are forgetting about your knowledge of Brahman. Weren't you just telling me that there's nothing but Brahman, and that a knower of Brahman can't be deceived by Maya? Yet the next moment, you forgot all that, and you're ready to beat one of Brahman's manifestations. You see, Maya, which you despise, is stronger than you think. Maya is omnipotent." Toda became very serious and was silent for some moments. Then he said, "You are quite right. I forgot Brahman under the influence of anger. Anger is a deadly thing. I shall give it up from this moment." And it is said that Todapuri was never again seen to be angry. Toda's constitution had always been strong. He had a little experience of the miseries of physical life, the aches and pains which distract the mind from contemplation. But now the climate and the water of Bengal began to affect him, and he had a severe attack of blood dysentery. At the first warnings of the disease, he thought he should go away, and found himself unwilling to leave the company of Ramakrishna, to whom he had become devoted. Several times he made up his mind to go to Ramakrishna and bid him goodbye, but as soon as the two were together, they would become absorbed in talk about God, and Toda forgot his purpose. So he grew steadily weaker and weaker, despite the medicines which Ramakrishna obtained for him through Mathura. Toda had always scorned the body and believed that it should be rejected at once if it interfered with one's awareness of Brahman. One night, as he lay alone in the Panchvati, Toda found that he was in such pain that he could no longer meditate. He was filled with disgust for the body. "I must get rid of this nuisance," he said to himself. "Why do I stay in it and suffer? I'll commit it to the Ganges." I should make it clear, this is the author saying, is at this point that Hinduism, like Christianity, condemns suicide. According to Hindu belief, it is a great opportunity and privilege, attainable only after many births in lower forms of life. To obtain a birth in a human body, for it is only during a lifetime in a human body that the goal of all life can be reached, the unitive knowledge of Brahman. Therefore, to discard your body willfully is to frustrate your own spiritual development. Such an act may have terrible consequences. It may even cause your rebirth in some lower form of life, or condemn you to a long period in some kind of purgatory or limbo. But once Brahman is known, the body has served its purpose. Therefore, if a knower of Brahman like Todapuri decides to discard it, his act will not be regarded as suicide in the culpable sense. Fixing his mind on Brahman, Toda waded out into the great river, but did not drown. Speaking about this episode many years later, Ramakrishna said, that Toda must have chanced to walk along a shoal which ran out from the bank near the bathing ghat, a little below the surface of the water. After a while, trees and houses began to be visible through the darkness, and he realized that he had crossed almost to the other side. And now he had a dazzling sense of enlightenment. He understood the power of Maya. Mother is indeed omnipotent, he exclaimed. Until she wills, the body is not even able to die. For the first time, his heart was overcome with love for the Divine Mother. He waded back the way he had come, reached the Panchvati, and sat down beside the fire. In the morning, when Ramakrishna came to visit Toda, he found him transformed. He was smiling with bliss at and the sickness had entirely left him. He signed to Ramakrishna to sit down beside him and said, "The disease has acted like a friend to me. Ah, how ignorant I have been all these years." And as the horns of the musicians sounded in the morning, music from the Nahabat, Toda accompanied Ramakrishna for the first time to the Kali temple and prostrated himself before the image. Toda felt now that the Divine Mother's double purpose in bringing him to Dakshineswar had been accomplished. A few days later, he said goodbye to Ramakrishna and started his homeward journey. His intended 3-day visit stretched itself to 11 months. He never returned. Just so beautiful how these things are all interwoven in Ramakrishna's story of life and such profundity. So this is the idea of Vijnana, that not only we go through all of these stages and realize our ultimate identity, but then also understand that same divinity is essence in everything in creation as well. So, so whatever the form of Divine Mother we need, we can reach out to Mom. I thought we'd just finish with a short chant, and we could use each of the Ma's in this, so we can give a little bit of worship to each mother in this song, Om Aim, and then we'll use each mother in turn. We'll start with Ma Kali, go to Ma Durga, Ma Lakshmi, Ma Saraswati, and Sardama, and then we'll end with that. Okay, so this is a beautiful chant, and we can sing it together. you for being online. Jai Ma.